Hey, here's my full name. How did I know? Well, the Times told me. You know the giant newspaper?
Is it really that time again?
So, you might remember a little while ago, I gave $50,000 to GenderGP. To explain GenderGP a little bit, GenderGP is basically for trans people. If you're trans femme, trans masc, you can go hit up them. They'll usually get you the hormones like really, really fast. There's more to say about that, because I have some insider information that... That's why the video is kind of long. But for now, I gave $50,000 to GenderGP. Not a charity by any means, but it is doing good work in my opinion. And it's also kind of the only version of that exists. The NHS, our like healthcare system in England, and a lot of countries where you get kind of free healthcare, the wait times are absurdly long. And specifically with England, there's like 20-year waiting list. I had a screenshot from someone sending that had a 37-year wait. And that's true. There's been people in my DMs that have said, I've been waiting for 5 years for this, and then they were the recipient of my donation that paid for their healthcare, because the NHS is free and they couldn't afford private healthcare, which is what GenderGP is. There's a big problem with that though. GenderGP is not liked at all, mostly for like the government, because recently the NHS completely banned the idea of puberty blockers, which if you're not aware is like if someone realizes they're trans before puberty, they can take them to like figure it out a bit longer. Like it postpones puberty, right? Until they are able to take like actual, you know, actual like hormones and stuff, because they can't do that young. But if it's private healthcare, you can. It's what a bunch of different healthcare organizations do. Okay, Finn, cool and all, but why did they dox you? That's interesting. I don't know. Puberty blocker clinic accepted £20,000 donation from Sugar Daddy. Notice how it's not $50,000, it says $20,000 because a viewer at the time, the Sugar Daddy, contributed half of it, right? So he gave $25,000, I gave $25,000. We didn't fundraise for it. This didn't come from like people. This came directly from our pockets, right? So whatever. Two private citizens doing what they want with their money to help people. Evil. So basically, this is about 10 muses, if you remember him. My Sugar Daddy, that will come up a lot, who paid a male YouTuber, excuse me, hold on, excuse me. Okay, well, you know, there is that. Thousands of pounds to behave like a submissive girl. Hundreds of thousands of pounds, fuck you. Obviously, first sentence, you can tell where they're coming at this story from, right? It goes on to outline things with GenderGP. Now, actually, this entire article is mostly about GenderGP. That's pretty much it. They talk about the funding, charitable donations or public funding, all that. And then eventually, also someone who gave money is this anonymous American donor who gave 25,000 or 20,000 pounds as part of a joint donation with the British YouTuber, whom he paid to be his online sugar baby. Why is it in quotes? Because that's just made up. The Times can reveal. No, you can't! No, you can't! There was absolutely none. Finster, real name Jude Howarth, thank you, The Times, is a YouTuber from Birmingham with well over 500,000 subscribers. That's interesting. What I love is both the full name and location. Thanks, man. That puts me in danger for no reason.
I want him dead. I want his family dead.
You can have a read of this article, presuming it's still up. I think that's hilarious. I would honestly say not to, just because there is a... Hold on, let me turn off ad blocker. Good thing I can't fucking read it. This is what would happen if you open this on a mobile phone. So maybe don't do that. Because this article got so much publicity, because they doxed a motherfucker and haven't taken it down, I made a tweet about it. The Times just doxed my full name in an article to slander trans healthcare donations. LMFAO. Very, very funny. It got over 4 million views on Twitter. A bunch of people were into this. We'll come back to that later. I followed up with, I really dislike political stuff, but I made this donation without fundraising to help trans adults in the UK who couldn't afford healthcare. Having said that, I have no problem with puberty blockers being prescribed to give people a better life. I'll happily pledge the entire donation amount again, plus what was matched by my viewer at the time, and for the journalist who asked for my quote 3 hours before the article was released, my official quote is suck my ass. So I wake up at 2 or 3 p.m, I check my Twitter, find a tweet about me, and immediately check my DMs. And I see this. This is from the journalist that wrote it. He did contact me and did reach out for comment, because as you can see, suck my ass is not on there. Not anywhere in the article. Bad journalism. He gave me a copy-paste of the article, and then at the very end he says, could you please let me know if you would like to comment on any of the above by 2 p.m. on Sunday, March 17th. And then there's his email, best wishes, Guy. Best wishes. I think not, Guy. He did not give me any of the details of the article. He gave me a summary, which, in all fairness, in journalism, you don't usually give someone the full article to then make comments on. But obviously, it's missing a lot of context from how the article's written. And on top of that, you may notice, published article, 2 p.m. on the 17th of March. He sent this on the 17th of March at 10:21 a.m. Which gives me 3.5 hours to... Who spends this much time on Twitter that I'd see this in 3 hours and come up with a, like, formal written response to this whole article? Journalism. Don't you love it? So he gave me 3 hours to respond. And no suck my ass is in the article. So I assume he doesn't care. But this article basically goes on to just talk about the founder of GenderGP and what it is, as well as just throwing my full name and location out there for no fucking reason. I think it's mostly just to attack GenderGP, but I can do a better job of that for you. I'm not joking. I'm pulling up notes. I am so deadly serious about what I said. Everything I said here. I will happily pledge the entire donation amount again. Plus what was matched by my viewer. So, why haven't I done it? Because of how many views this tweet got and how, you know, big this article got, I ended up getting a lot of new messages from a lot of people who used to work at GenderGP. And it's safe to say, I'm not going to be giving money to GenderGP. Why, Finn? Okay, look. Is it bad that the Times doxed me? Yes. Did it alert me to a far bigger problem? Yes. This is where the video genuinely gets serious, and that about 10,000 people's healthcare and jobs are, not looking great. I actually legally can't say too much here. And no, I'm not kidding. The reason why this video was out so late is because I was busy in Zoom calls and Google Meets and all those shitty softwares and responding to emails from people that used to work at GenderGP. I can't tell you an awful lot of what got spoke about because it affects an awful lot of people's jobs. Or lack thereof, perhaps. But I can show you this. On January 7th, this tweet was made. So for all my new followers, in April last year, I was awarded compensation by an employment tribunal for discrimination I faced while working at GenderGP. They failed to meet this commitment and have refused all attempts at communication from me, the court, or the sheriff's office. Now, she wrote about all this, saying compensation was awarded in April after winning in January, and her article starts with CW suicide. So she didn't have a great time. I encourage you to read it yourself. And there's more. This tweet was made in response to a kind of random GenderGP tweet, you know, just something like, you know, marketing and whatnot, talking about how proud they are. Queer and proud, because pride and love always triumph. The response, this kind of sentiment while not responding to my emails about our need for treatment and the new confusing and unwieldy forms is abysmal. We have been waiting for over a week for something that used to be far more efficient under the guise of simple, new process, speak to us. Agreement in the comments and a quote retweet that is from another former GenderGP employee. In the absence of meaningful access to NHS provision, thousands depend on GenderGP for their gender-affirming healthcare needs. As a former senior leadership team member, I'm very concerned about the latest internal organization changes and current service levels. Look, I have a lot of trans people in the audience. If you use GenderGP, you might have noticed that a lot of things are being responded to and written by AI. AI's become a really big thing, and I'm way too dumb to be able to talk about it and know what I'm talking about. But it's not a human, and this is people's medicine, which is a little scary. And now I can read what little notes I've been able to take from who have been in contact with me, including something genuinely really fucking sad. Remember that donation? That whole reason why the Times article was made? GenderGP might actually deserve a hit for that. I didn't know that until the last couple weeks. $50,000 was given to a fund that would basically say, if someone came to GenderGP, couldn't afford the treatment because it is private healthcare, it's expensive, my fund will cover it. I had meetings with Helen and Susie, Helen being the CEO of GenderGP, and Susie being the fund manager at the time, who, as far as I can tell, isn't with GenderGP anymore because her bio has changed on social media. Dr. Helen Webley does not follow me. I think that is important to note. Now, okay, look, to be honest with you, they both seemed like amazing people, and Susie is. I've spoken to Susie a lot She was my main point of contact, and I truly believe that she has absolutely the best intentions in mind. She's a trans daughter herself, and does not at all get profit from this type of thing. She's not out there buying expensive houses or something like that. But GenderGP is a for-profit organization. And here's where capitalism goes wrong. We knew that that money could reasonably take about 30 people. Now 30 doesn't seem like a lot, but this is not, here's a month worth of healthcare and now figure it out for yourself. This is funding a very long period of time for those 30 people. So they can reliably get hormones for at least a year or more. And that was a major concern of Susie when I was making the donation. What happened after they received the money and the crowdfunding campaign went live? Helen and GenderGP never took the form down. And that doesn't sound like a big deal, but they know how many people they can accept. They could accept 30, and anyone over 30 will be denied. And they know that. 130 people applied. Why did the CEO of GenderGP leave that fund open? Because it would make more money. They knew that if they had to tell 100 people no, some of them would come up with the money. Some of them would find a way to get that money some way. They don't know how. They know that they can't afford it, but Helen was betting that they would just make it happen. Allegedly, God knows how. And she was right. A few of those people on that list did come up with the money. How? I don't know. And that's the scary thing. They could have taken out predatory loans for things like this. Healthcare is an extremely important thing. Think of how many people go into debt in somewhere like the US so they can get proper healthcare. And this is that same privatized system. This is willingly let 100 people down and take away from their time that they could be using seeking treatment elsewhere, and at worst just f***ing with people for their money.
But you're going to annoy thousands of people just to make a few measly dollars.
Which I find kind of immoral. Was I told about this from Helen? No. The only person that ever talked to me after that donation was made was Susie, to let me know the positive feedback on those people that did actually get treatment. And we both had a little cry together about it. Because it was really sweet. And now it just sucks to think that 100 more people got screwed. Allegedly. I've heard a lot of rumors of poor working conditions inside of GenderGP and some very scary mass layoffs, which I have no information about. I am purely speculating and have no involvement or knowledge whatsoever about. It's just this weird rumor I maybe heard from somewhere or nowhere. When I made that tweet saying I was going to donate more money, I got a bunch of responses from people that were GenderGP patients or ex-patients that said, maybe don't do that with them again. There's been an awful lot of questions being asked about it. For example, right now on their page, there was a change made. The only way that you can talk to someone, let's say, let's book a session. Absolutely all of this has a price, and there is absolutely no way, if we go onto the help center, like a quick chat is £10. Get in touch, talk to someone, a member of our team, click here. Okay, you gotta pay money. Okay, can I not, like, email or something? Book a session with one of our team. There is an email, but something you might not know is I actually tried to get my healthcare through GenderGP, but it was really confusing and hard. That's only because of a very, very recent change, because they've started switching to AI, and there are some unconfirmed allegations. And obviously, these are all rumors that I've heard. None of this is confirmed. But if you have experience, you might notice that they don't exactly mandate blood tests or something like that. And when you do get your blood test done and you try and send it off, recently people have been having issues with the form, it like being rerouted back or not working or getting AI answers or not being able to speak to a person about their medical records. I'm not sure of the legality of it, but there have been some unconfirmed allegations and rumors I am not making, but have heard from a little birdie somewhere. Honestly, these are all just jokes and not serious and satire and someone that is in law help me. There isn't much strict guidance on who's the person checking the blood tests. A lot of people can check a blood test, but you'd want them to be doctors, clinicians, nurses, people that know if something is wrong, what's wrong. But a lot of the time, a lot of similar organizations typically don't do that, and they have a list of things where if you kind of check boxes, then someone who's not qualified to read it can go through it and say, yep, that looks good, or I don't know what this is. I don't know. That just scares me personally a little bit. You know, if something abnormal pops up but checks a box is fine, then it will get overlooked. That scares me a little bit. And that's something people have noticed and have been in my replies about on Twitter. So, okay, we're done. Jesus Christ. So, Finn, I'm not letting you get past this point, man. You said you'd donate like 50 grand again, and I don't want to get let out of it, chat. Listen, here's where the video gets fun again. Remember I said I was going to set up a charity? Remember I said that it was going to be really hard because the media really come for you? Well, they have, so fuck it. I'm doing it. No, I'm not kidding. I believe this will be the only time that this has ever happened in YouTube or Twitch streaming history. I might be wrong. I haven't looked into it. I've wanted to set something up that was similar to GenderGP, but a non-profit. Something that doesn't take any money out. Now, this is something I really want to get involved with. I think I've found some good people to do it with, and we're actually beginning trials really soon. That's what I've been working on the past couple weeks. It's really difficult, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to be able to say what it is for a while. But what I can say is there's an email in the description because we're looking for any EU or UK medical doctors who want to be involved in trans healthcare. I know even for doctors that do work with the NHS, this kind of sucks. It's not on them. Those waiting lists are entirely just because of funding and not because of the doctors. If you are in the EU or the UK and you are an MD able to prescribe medication to people, send me through an email and I'll forward it to the right people. There's an awful lot of reasons which I can't talk about why I can't talk about it. I know it's going to be really hard to understand why I can't mention stuff like this, but you've really got to imagine this puts me, my family, and my girlfriend at risk. And I've talked to a lot of people, and they're willing to undertake that, which is amazing with them. But I do somewhat have to protect them and myself, because we've seen newspapers like the Times aren't really above, you know, straight up misinformation or doxing, which is fun. I know that there's going to be some people that want to support it immediately, but you can't yet. I'm really sorry. As soon as I can, I'll let you guys know, but there's some really nice work being done. And I'll give you updates as soon as I can give them, but I can't for a while. I can't give you too much too fast. Could you imagine if Finster is your fucking estrogen provider? I'm working on that, motherfucker.